Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 The Great War with me, Alpha Pi in Austria-Hungary. So this is the final episode. It took us over 20 years to get to this point, in-game of course. We have conquered a number of countries, and today, in this episode, I would like to think about what we have learned and how the game went, and what would I have done different. Now, let's start by looking at our empire, because I think that we have grown to a size that is pretty much insane. For quite some time now, we had, full political power, very good stability and everything. But as far as manpower goes, we have, 13.1 million manpower, of which 3.71 million is in the army, 27,000 men serve in the air force, we have 50,000 men in the navy, we have 91,000 men serving in garrison and 767,000 as foreign garrison. We had a monthly growth rate of over nearly 16,000 men, which means that we can field at 1.5 division every month, which is pretty darn good. Now, we have stayed at war economy. We didn't go to total mobilization due to the fact that our war support never allowed it. We went with extensive conscription. Service by requirement was never needed, which would then more than double our eligible manpower, which is just insane to think about it. We lost, though, quite a lot of men. We started very well, but in the end we lost over 4 million troops. Most of it, 1.6 million, was lost to Free France, over 850,000 to United States, over 400,000 to Belgium, which is kind of interesting. They've given us quite a lot of trouble. 361,000 to Italy, 278,000 to United Kingdom, and other 462,000. This is kind of funny because Russia is not on the list. The entire Russian campaign cost us less than 278,000 men, while the fights in France got close to 2 million. That's amazing when you think about it. We ended up with 425 divisions and 443 total factories, of which 264 were military, 42 naval dockyards, and 137 civilian factories. We ended up with 8 damaged military factories, and 105 military factories are in occupied territories, 20 naval dockyards are in occupied territories, and 59 civilian factories are in occupied territories. It's pretty good. We got all the way to the 1933 aircraft. Some of the industry that we got, was... No. We got all the 1926, and we got one technology from 1931, so we got a bit ahead of tech. In there, we were working on the electromechanical engineering. As far as Navy goes, we pretty much stopped with the 1922 because there is a huge jump. It would still take us over 4 years to research any of these. Though the heavy cruiser 2 would be pretty cool to have, but there was no point. We got through to the 1930 artillery. We even got the interwar heavy artillery. That's really nice. Tanks, unfortunately, in this mod were not good, not well implemented, I would say. Support companies, we never went to the, 1946? Yeah, 1946 versions. And here we got past the 1930 tech. We had the MP44 and we were working on the Carabina M95/30. Pretty decent, I'm happy. As far as trade goes, we really never suffered for oil. That must be the first playthrough where I had that. But we never really got enough rubber and tungsten, no matter what we did. And quite a lot of our railways were damaged in the fighting. Same with a lot of factories, a lot of infrastructure. The fighting ravaged Europe insanely. The end result of our occupation is this. This is the central area that we started with, and we gain all of this and all of this. Well, Germany, I don't know if we can see their occupied territories. We can't. But they got this. That was their starting area. So this is occupied and this entire area is occupied. It's insane. Romania in the end held nothing. Actually, no, I think that this territory wasn't theirs in the beginning. They passed all of their extra territories to Germany. Same with the Ottomans, they gained a bit here but then passed most of it to Ottomans. We actually managed to save them pretty nicely. Let's compare ourselves to Germany, shall we? Germany has 149 civilians, so they got more civilian factories, but they got about 2/5 of the military factories and they get about half of our naval dockyards. How many divisions do they have? 604, so they got bigger army than we do. Much bigger, 4 million manpower. Yeah, that's bigger. It's fair to say that most of our units were actually Küstenwache. When you look at the... Wait, can we see it? Yeah. We had a huge coast to to secure. But I think we did well. As far as the Navy goes, if it wasn't for that major defeat, our Navy would be massive. By now we would have definitely over 120 ships, but many of our ships were sunk during the fighting. I don't know if, for example, this guy, Kaiser class. No, you're the new battleship. I don't know which one would be the oldest one that we had. What about you? Herzog Caro class. Oh yeah, this one is very old. Jesus, look at how many ships we've sunk. That's just insane. That's just, yeah, the naval warfare was massive here. It was massive, and I believe that, you know, I never got to splitting the fleet, but we were getting very close. If I had like 90 ships, I would split it into 2 battle fleets of 45 each, and then we could have started ruling the Mediterranean. We actually already rule it in a sense. We cut off, well, I guess Egypt from Spain. I wanted to send Western Europe from you know, the Arabian Peninsula, but yeah, there's no one left in Europe, just Spain, and actually Portugal as well. But yeah, Navy was also kind of fun. Where we really lacked was the Air Force, and we still do lack a lot there, but that really goes back to the rubber. Fun fact, Austria-Hungary was also extremely weak as far as Air Force goes. They never really caught up to it, and even at the end of the war they didn't excel in air warfare, so we kind of went with a historical route there. What about the Ottomans? How did they end? The Ottomans ended with 67 divisions. Okay, near 1 million troops. That's much better. 18 factories, civilian factories, 27 military factories. Okay, well, it is better. What about Russia? They were going at it. Yeah, they're back to 2 million troops, 305 divisions. They got 42 civilian and 117 military factories. Interesting. War economy, limited export, service by requirement. Yeah, they never really gotten very far. Ottomans got all adults serve. That's interesting. That's interesting. Can we see anything about our opponents? Actually, let's check this. So we pretty much caught up as far as the field and manpower goes. They got more troops, about 1/4 more, but considering the defeat that they got, I don't think they would be able to do anything to us. Actually, the strongest ones now is United Kingdom, and they are weaker than Germany. They might even be weaker than us. Really interesting. United States are second, Japan is third, British Raj is fourth, Spain, Canada, Italy is so close. This is pissing me off, but I really don't feel like brute forcing myself through this. I mean, we could if we threw in the artillery and the tanks, though these are mountains, so that wouldn't really be easy. But if we threw all of our units in there and through the tanks, for example, on this one, I believe we could break through Taranto eventually. But, you know, what do you know? So what about the campaign itself? How did I enjoy it? Well, I did enjoy it very much. This is one of the very few playthroughs of Hearts of Iron where I played a major nation, and we've done a ton. If you remember, Germany in the beginning struggled a lot. While we were doing the Balkan campaigns, they had huge issues actually. Russia pushed them significantly. We had to, right from the start basically, bolster even the Western Front. So this brings up the biggest point of contention I had with this playthrough, that Germany was crumbling. Since the very beginning they were useless. It was up to us to strengthen them. Now, some of you mentioned that the reason for that was because Germany sent a lot of their forces to defend our border. They were also passing troops from Western Front to the Eastern Front, so that made them much weaker. I'm not sure that is true. I didn't go back and check, and as the Let's Play is uploaded with a bit of a delay, especially because my daughter was born during making this, it is kind of hard to say if it was true or not. But on the other hand, this led me to consider some of your suggestions. I already checked the Great War Redux, and the next playthrough that we're going to do of the Great War is going to be in the Redux. It's not going to be the next playthrough, which is going to be Kaiserreich. I actually am looking very much to it. But once we're done with that, I think we might do one thing, and then one additional playthrough of Hearts of Iron in between, and then we might come back to this. And to this I mean to play the Redux. And in the Redux I would probably play Germany, because I see it as a major challenge to play the biggest nation. And the biggest nation is certainly Germany in this. And based on whether or not we would be able to win in the Redux, we could go either with Black Ice, or we could go with Kaiserreich again, playing Germany. So we're gonna see. But in this next playthrough, we are going to play Austria-Hungary in the Kaiserreich, and see how it's gonna go. So back to it. Once we finished the Balkan campaign, we pushed a bit into Italy. I remember that we pushed also a bit here, but then the massive Russian campaign happened, and that was a mess. I remember how many thousands of troops have died there on our side, and how many millions of Russians have actually died there. That was insane, but we won. It's kind of sad that we didn't see the Russian Revolution kick off, because that would have been really nice to see, but it failed. And in the end, Germany puppeted Russia, which is something that I didn't want to do, because I was afraid that they would lose the eastern coast to Japan, but in the end they managed to hold it. There's actually a ton of troops here now. Kind of interesting. And they're even holding this North Korean territory. It's so funny. But they never really pushed there. I was proven wrong. Germany took Finland, took parts of Karelia, and a belt around our territory, which is a bit weird, but in the end they puppeted Russia, and Russia was actually kind of useful in holding the, I guess, Japanese invasion, though I'm not sure if there was any fighting going on here naval-wise, or I didn't pay that much attention to it. After which we turned our attention to Western Front, but we really won the war by holding this front. And after the liberation of the Ottomans, which was a very quick episode to be quite honest, Ottomans were knocked out. That's actually something that is still making me really sad, because while we were fighting in the Balkans, the Ottomans got liquidated pretty much. They were reduced to this area, which is cool. They never lost their capital, and I'm grateful for it, but they capitulated. And the only reason why they were actually holding the capital is because there was a German army there. So once we were by the Ottomans, we tried to push through the Western Front, but we actually in the end did the unthinkable, and we pushed all the way to Italy and through the south of France into the north, and one of the last cities that fell was Paris. Speak of the devil, we actually had to take everything to take Paris, even if we were like this close to Paris in the beginning. After which, it was just a push to the north to take Belgium, and then here we are. Actually, one thing that I wanted to mention is, if we play the Redux, I I'm tempted to play the Ottomans too, because I think Ottomans might be much harder than Germany. But on the other hand, Germany would mean we basically play even the Ottomans. We would have to strengthen all of our allies and make sure that they do not fail in their campaigns. So I'd probably much rather play the Germans. We'll see. We'll see. Well, anyway, I think that's pretty much it. I had fun. I hope you guys had fun too. It was a long play. It took over 4 months to do this. 4 months. Maybe even 5. I haven't really counted, but... Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. But it was fun. It was fun. So thank you very much for joining me. If you enjoyed, I enjoyed as well. And I hope to see at least some of you in the upcoming playthrough of Kaiserreich, which is gonna be basically a follow-up to this one. We're gonna... I'm not gonna modify the playthrough or anything, but you know, because we won here, we can move on to Kaiserreich. That was the whole goal. If we would have lost, we would move to something else like Black Ice. But no, this time Kaiserreich. So, once again, thank you very much. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the views. And I'll see you in the next playthrough.